welcome to another episode of You Don't Know Jack with Lydia and Matt. How's it going?
It's a windy, almost spring day here in Mountain Maryland.
Can we talk about this wind for 2 seconds? I mean, it is.
You live on a hill, Podcast Hill.
I live on a
I live on a hill, the opposite side of town.
Yep.
Called Fort Hill, and I know why it's called Fort Hill now. I didn't realize Cumberland was so windy until I lived on top of a hill.
It's definitely a thing. But today I feel like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. I mean, Jack and I went for a walk, and it was.
He's a very large Toto.
He is 86 pounds. Had his vet checkup yesterday.
Ding, beefy.
Beautiful. No problems. Everything looks good. No concerns. No, I mean, we're walking around. His ears are flapping in the breeze. I'm like, look, man, you got to pee as quickly as possible. Try not to get it all over yourself because the wind's blowing so strong. And it was a struggle to walk around the house just to get back in the door.
My 16-year-old dachshund has a better idea. He just seems to go to the bathroom in the house at this point in time.
Yeah. But, listen,
that is
he's earned it at this point.
Is.
He's 16. He can do what he wants, you know?
It is.
Rusty buckets owns that house.
Yeah, exactly.
So busy sports situations. We've got brackets filled out. We had people playing last night. Colorado State just got in, and there's a few games that needed to be played. So starts tomorrow.
Starts in earnest tomorrow.
So you and I have filled out our brackets.
Yes.
Now, this is what they are for right now, but if you get tinkeritis,
we still have the option.
We still have the option. I did that last year. It did not end well for me.
I remember you.
I was a tinkerer.
I'm a gut player.
You're a gut player. I'm going to emulate you this year.
I kind of go with my, I don't spend a lot of time. I look at it. It's like bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
I work through my brackets in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I spent a little longer, but again, I didn't take it too seriously.
Yeah.
And every time I really tried to get into comparing and contrasting 8 and 9 teams, for instance, I would just be like, it is literal flip of the coin.
And they're probably going to be gone in the second round.
Totally. And I was like, so why don't invest too much time in this?
Right. And that, like, I run through the bracket, and if games I'm not sure about, I skip over.
Yep.
Okay. And then I just sort of work through it, and then I'll go back to the ones I skipped over.
Yeah.
But I do it. I mean, I move judiciously.
Yes. I faster at women's than I was at men's because, surprise, surprise, haven't really been paying attention too much to the men's other than UConn and Houston.
The women's, now see, I worked in
Purdue.
reversed. I kind of worked back out
on
where I knew I thought my Final Four was. And then I didn't pick all the way out. I think I stopped at like 16.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't have enough time. So
Sure.
I worked at my women. Now, I'll probably end up doing one. But my problem is in the first round, I don't know enough of the depth of women's. Like, I'm throwing darts at dartboards on some of those teams.
Yeah, of course. So I guess let's start with the men's because, whatever. And then we'll go with the women's. So your Final Four for men's, UConn, Kentucky, UNC, and Tennessee.
Yeah, chalky, but not chalk.
No, good. I went with UConn, Arizona, Houston, and Tennessee. UConn taking it. You also said UConn taking it.
Yep.
Houston is playing really well.
But they got just lambasted by Iowa State in the Big 12 championship.
They did. Yeah.
Houston always strikes me much like Purdue. I feel like they're wolf tickets, man. Purdue
is in a predicament much like Virginia was a couple of years ago where they got knocked out first round.
Right, and then Virginia won it all the next year.
Yeah, exactly. So, Purdue maybe is taking notes on that. But again,
we don't
know.
I think it's not just last year. If you look historically, their coach, Painter, is a very good coach. Mm-hmm. They're always a very good team. But I was reading an article about this today. Since he's been the coach, they're one of the poorest performing teams over expectations.
Yeah.
They just really struggle in the tournament.
Yeah, they do.
For a variety of reasons, I'm sure. But
I might tinker that.
Yeah,
I have them going pretty deep.
I'm just not sold on them. Like, okay, but I'll give you an example where you were. I was bang on Arizona and UNC.
Mm-hmm.
Interestingly, you could get you could end up with R.J. Davis going against Love, who was at UNC.
Yes.
They did not get along last year. But I think R.J. Davis. I love guard play. I love the experience of UNC.
Yeah, I do too.
What is it? Carmack Ryan's going to be 26.
Yeah.
Baycott's like 24.
Yeah.
As I said to somebody, our buddy Nathan Price was complaining about how old some of the UNC guys were. I said, Judas Priest.
That's how you go far in the tournament,
Carmack Ryan's
dude.
26. I'm like, I had a child at 28, man.
Listen,
like, this guy's doing college.
Listen, he's licking his wounds because UNC, didn't they put a hurting on Duke?
No, NC State.
NC State.
So NC State, I think it is.
They're in too.
It was they are automatic bid. I think NC State, what they did in the ACC tournament, will go down in the annals as one of the great runs of tournament play.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that it compares to, the only time they've ever had a Big Five team or one of the big conferences win 5 games in 5 days was UConn did it with Kemba Walker. And then, of course, Kemba Walker won 6 more.
Yeah.
When they won 11 straight to win a national title. I think the run that NC State did in D.C., though I don't understand why the ACC is playing in D.C. because they'd never play in D.C. when Maryland was in the ACC.
Mm-hmm. We see how you are, ACC.
I think that run was epic.
Yep. I think it's going to keep going, too.
Now, see, I think they're done.
You think they're
gassed. I think they're gassed.
Really?
I think emotionally that tank has got to be empty. And I just...
I'm just going to go with a gut here because I see that sometimes my gut is when teams go on a run like this, they either do it or they don't. But if they do, then how exciting is that? So I guess that turns it into like, okay, there's always upsets. There's always like 12 seeds that go over 2s or 1s. So do you have any upsets in your bracket?
Do I have any upsets in mine? Yeah, I have a couple, but mine, I generally am pretty chalky. But hold on, let me.
Yeah, you are.
I will. But you know what? Everybody always is looking for these upsets. Chalk works most of the time.
It does, but last year, my God,
So
there was a bunch of upsets last year.
No, I was just looking because I knew we were going to talk about that. Mm-hmm. I have Oregon over South Carolina. So that's 11 over 6.
Okay.
That's one of my first round upsets.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. I have just a couple first round upsets.
I have a few. I have 1, 2.
I'll tell you which one I looked really hard at, and I'm not convinced I could flop back.
Yeah.
I looked real hard at JMU.
I have them. JMU over Wisconsin.
But I'm thinking Wisconsin, man, they played so good in the Big Ten.
They did, but not towards the end.
No.
And JMU is, again.
I mean, JMU is like 31 and 3.
No, they're good.
So
that's a good team.
I'm still, like, there's one that I could tinker with.
Yeah.
If I'm being completely honest.
I have JMU.
I got New Mexico State over Clemson, another 6 first.
Same.
So I don't really have that 5-12. I have a couple 6-11s.
I have 6-11s. I have like Nevada over Dayton, which is a 7-10.
And see, I went back and forth on that, but is 7-10 really an upset?
Not
I mean,
really.
it's sort of like 8 versus 9.
Yeah,
I don't think it's an upset.
I did Drake because you don't mess with the Drake.
Yeah, exactly.
I just was like, we'll go with that.
You were talking about one of the great stories before we went on.
Yeah.
It's Long Beach State.
Yes.
They're 15-2 against Arizona. Mm-hmm. Their coach has sort of been ousted, but they did it kind of. He's been there a long time.
He has.
Announced that he was going to be leaving, and when the team went on an epic run and won their conference.
Yeah, I do have them losing to Arizona though, but that could be an upset.
Another one I looked at, and I don't know if again, I guess it's sort of that same category again. Mm-hmm. I went with BYU, but I was leaning hard on Duquesne.
Yeah, I was too.
I'm kind of.
But BYU is
that one. And by the way,
dominant.
I'm also rocking the Drake too.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean,
one thing that might be kind of controversial. I have Samford over Kansas.
Kansas is beat up. And, and I was
their star players aren't really doing it.
Yeah, I have Kansas beating Gonzaga, but I think I might flip flop on that one. See, I have them both into.
I actually have. That's another one. I have a McNeese over Gonzaga.
Wow,
I do.
A lot of action.
I mean, why not? I mean, what do I have to lose?
Right.
Nothing. Really. I mean, we do a Giuseppe's pool every year, but it's a good time.
But I'm thinking like, okay, so look, I think Kentucky, even though I have them in the Final Four, I think Kentucky's got to get back past the first round. They worry me in the first round.
Yeah. I have them. I have NC State making Sweet 16. I have them over Kentucky, especially if they're not gassed. I feel like that's could be potentially an unstoppable.
What
team.
I like about Kentucky, is
they're Wildcats.
They can really get up and down the court. They can really score. The question is, can Kentucky play defense?
That's it. They have terrible defense.
Yeah.
They can get shut down super simple too.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, just a lot of talent, a lot of athleticism. Mm-hmm. John Calipari's a great coach.
Yeah. We know the mayor is a huge fan.
Yeah. Big Cat. Yeah. Thanks, Big Cat. Shout out to Big Cat. I got his Wildcats on a run.
Yeah. I have him. I'm snuffing out the Wildcats.
I mean, I got them in the finals.
I know you do, and I don't.
The finals. I got not just the Final Four. I got them in the finals.
I got 1s and 2s in the Final Four, which typically is not too smart.
No,
technically,
I got a 1-1.
It's pretty chalky.
1-1, a 3, and a 2.
Yeah, I mean, so I feel like I think UConn is definitely in it. If they get knocked out, we're both screwed. But I feel like it's a fun bracket. I put together a fun bracket. I think stick with it this year.
I think UConn is just really good.
Yeah,
I think they can play. Somebody said they're the best team with the best coach.
Yeah,
and that's just really. Danny Hurley's really good.
Yeah,
they're really good on inbounds plays and setup plays. And that's really what coaching is about. Coaches cannot make baskets for players.
Nope.
Coaches put players in the best opportunity to make baskets, and I think Danny Hurley's really good at that.
Yeah, I do too.
I would put him akin to Brad Stevens. When Brad Stevens was a Butler, and then when he coached the Celtics, they were like, man, and what everyone would always talk about is like, man, the Celtics, or when it was Butler, they had the best inbounds plays. Yeah. And they're like, that's the essence of coaching. That is how you tell someone's a good coach or not.
Yeah, because you can get, and that's the thing. These teams are, I don't know, I'm excited. Are you excited?
I'm always excited.
Yeah. It's good basketball. Yeah. It's a good chance to get out and watch it. And it's a good social event, too. Yeah. So it's sort of like, we do this once, like I said, we go to Giuseppe's. They've got food specials. You do their pool. It's fantastic. And you see the same people. I've been in that pool for, oh, my God, longer than I've known Tim.
Having a law firm event on Friday. Giuseppe's is catering it for us.
Oh, look at you.
And I'm going to miss it. I'm going to be at a meeting. Bowling. Very exciting, though. Oh. And I was the one who wanted to go bowling. Oh. I'm a bowler. I like bowling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the dude abides.
I was going to say.
I'm not taking the dog bowling.
You're not renting it shoes.
I'm not buying it a beer.
Mm-hmm. It's not taking your turn.
Yeah.
Let's speak.
But you know what happened if somebody crosses over the line?
Over the line, Smokey.
You're entering
into a world of pain. A world of pain.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what I'm talking about, or Matt's talking about, then
if you don't know,
now you do.
Yeah.
So let's switch on to the women's tournament.
The women's side.
Okay. So you got to pull that up on your telephono. This was a pretty simple bracket for me to pick. We have very similar Final Fours, somewhat. You have South Carolina, NC State, and Ohio State and Iowa in your Final Four.
Yes.
And I have South Carolina, Iowa, Stanford, and USC.
UNC is the team that, USC feels like the team. I think they're going to be knocked off. Really? Even though I think they're very good.
Very good. Yeah.
The freshman point guard Star, she's outscored Caitlin Clark as a freshman. What Caitlin Clark scored.
Yep. I think South Carolina's. I have LSU out because I think that they're super shaky. I have them against UCLA, and then UCLA gets knocked out by Iowa.
See, I went back and forth. I had LSU and Iowa in the Elite Eight.
Yeah,
and I really thought hard about it.
I just don't think they're going to be able to do
my
this
dislike for Kim Mulkey is such, I couldn't bring myself to.
They're just not a good team this year.
She's a terrible human.
Well, that also, but I just think that the team is
there's something
off.
There's something rotten in that team.
There's misfires.
Yes.
Yeah, they need a new spark plug.
Look, I think South Carolina is the class of women's basketball.
I mean, come on.
But I do think they don't feel as unbeatable as like when some of Gino's teams, when they were undefeated, like you just felt like nobody can stop them.
No.
And that's why I have Iowa winning, because I think they're beatable.
Iowa's definitely beatable.
Yeah,
OSU beat Iowa.
Well, absolutely. And we saw South Carolina get taken to the wire. They made that 3-pointer, the dust up.
Yep.
Then they had the dust up with LSU, which was
yeah, and that player never shoots 3 points.
Yeah.
She never shoots.
But that was the game before, and then the LSU game devolved into a fight.
Oh, my God.
And Kim Mulkey seems to be stoking the fight.
Listen, Kim Mulkey, who's the head coach of LSU, who wears ridiculous outfits on the court, which is her priority. It's her prerogative, and that's totally fine. I think it's great. It's bringing a little bit of pizzazz back to the sidelines. However, her style of coaching and the fact that she is not a great, basically, she's got issues. The woman's got issues, whether she likes, people in same-sex relationships and all that kind of stuff, and just not acknowledging Brittany Griner at all during her issue. We've expressed this on the podcast several times.
I have it hard to. I don't understand. I understand young women folks, they want to go there to play because they're going to win. Okay, they're going to be a very successful team.
Yes,
but man, culturally, I just feel like, why would you go play for her when there's other? Because these girls are all elite young women or elite talent, and I'm just saying they could go somewhere where I don't know. I just she doesn't strike me as somebody I'd want to coach my daughter.
No, and I don't think that I don't. I 100% agree with you on that. I just feel like there are better opportunities and better coaches out there with better human track records that I would want my daughter to emulate in style. Angel Reese has had some issues. We talked about that. She's just not playing like she could. She might go in the transfer portal and go someplace else, and I don't blame her for doing that either. I just feel like sometimes you and your coach, what starts out as a good relationship, might devolve into something that you didn't want. And so you got to go where you're going to be appreciated.
I think, so I was thinking about like trying to pick the finals, and I had them and Iowa in the final. And, it's one of those ones, it's like, okay, I want to say South Carolina is clearly the better team.
Yeah.
But, but I feel like it's the only capstone for Caitlin Clark is to win a national title. But then I thought, well, maybe she really will be the female version of Larry Bird. Of course, Larry Bird didn't win. He lost to Magic, famously, where it was him and like four other dudes like that you'd never heard of and never saw again.
Right.
Against,
I think
a very talented Michigan State team.
I think Iowa's a flawed team.
Agreed.
So I picked.
But they have a flawless player.
They do, yes. But if you shut that flawless player down, then that they're the other not to throw any stones at the other players on that team, but they're not Caitlin Clark.
I know, and I think someone like Dawn Staley's going to make that very hard.
Oh, 100%. They're going to shut it down as quickly as they can. And also, South Carolina has really great defense. Dawn Staley's known for her defense. And I feel like if you have a outside shooter, you shut that shooter down and you limit the ability for her to get assists or get the ball to somebody else. If you shut that one key player down, Iowa has been known to make it through games with lesser teams than South Carolina. Yeah. But South Carolina is also powerful from the outside. And Iowa's defense isn't as great as it could be.
I again, gut player.
Gut move there.
But, hey, I did short the Wolfpack in the men's bracket, but I got one of the Final Four in the women's bracket.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I like the way they play. Always a very good team.
Yeah.
But the one that you want to be bullish on, but I'm just not sold that it's their time yet is USC.
Yeah, I agree. But I have them in the Final Four because I feel like Iowa, remember, they came out of nowhere.
Right.
And and you and I talked about this, instead of it being Stanford, UConn, Tennessee, and, LSU.
Right.
Or South Carolina.
Right.
Even.
Now we have Iowa.
Now we've got Iowa. Now we've got, USC. Now we've got some other.
Maybe we get NC State or someone.
State,
and NC State's
OSU.
been a very good. NC State and Ohio State have had a good women's program for a while, but that's what I mean.
It's just amping it up, and they're getting a little bit more acknowledgement for their teams. I think the Gamecocks are going to get it, and that's just.
Yeah, I just don't. Look. I went with
it would be a great story. Yeah.
And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't think it's scripted.
No, of course not.
I don't think, but I just think, I don't know.
I think it would be a great.
March is made for stories like this.
It's a Cinderella story.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, there's only one way to find out.
Jump it up and see what happens.
Exactly
Stay
right.
tuned.
Absolutely. All right. So we've got one thing I want to mention. Russell Wilson's coming to Pittsburgh.
And so's Justin Fields.
And Justin Fields from the Chicago Bears.
So my daughter was talking to me about it. Mm-hmm. Her mom's a Steelers fan and was talking to me about it. I said, dude, there's an old adage in football, man. When you got two quarterbacks, do you know how many you have? She goes, no. I said, zero.
Yeah, because they're going to be competing against each other.
Yeah, and it just, old Russell Wilson. I'm not sure what's left I'm not sure what Russ got left in the tank.
I don't know either.
I think the Steelers quarterback picture is better.
Yeah, but it's not
clear.
It's a stepping stone to something else for sure. But
I think Justin Fields, they think, could be their future.
Well,
amazingly for a 6th-round pick.
Yeah, I know, but my thing
Chicago.
is, if you think that Justin Fields is your pick, then Russell's second string, as far as I'm concerned, because you got to give the man, the younger of the two, the opportunity first. I think.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind.
You got to get him wet behind the ears, put him out there.
Look,
go for it.
I don't understand why certain Steeler fans think this. I think the Steelers have, an all-time great coach.
Sure.
I think Mike Tomlin will make the right decision.
I think
whatever it will be.
You know what? I trust his judgment on this. Yeah. Who am I?
He's got a standard, as he likes to say. The standard is the standard.
Exactly right. Baseball. It's coming up. Opening day.
Allegedly, it started today.
Yeah, that's baloney. I don't believe it.
So, again, I'm not one of these people that hate on sports that I love.
No.
I think I'm a true proponent of Ozzie Smith, you know, the former Padres and Cardinals great, who thinks opening day should be a national holiday. Totally agree.
I do too.
I totally agree with that.
It's America's pastime.
It is our pastime, but opening day, theoretically, the Major League Baseball season started this morning in Seoul, Korea, with the Dodgers, I think, beating the Padres. I want to say like 5-2.
Dodgers beat the Padres 5-2. Ohtani looked good.
Yeah.
Listen.
But is that really opening day?
No, it isn't. And I'll tell you why, in my opinion, which is mine alone, and I'll take ownership for it. It's America's pastime, played in Seoul, South Korea at 3 a.m. How is that officially an opening day game? I don't buy it, honestly. And I will also have prescribed to the fact that yes, opening day happens across the United States at different times for different teams, depending.
But essentially, every team plays next Thursday.
Correct.
We're going to start next Thursday.
Whether it's at your a home game or not, okay? It's opening day. I, myself, being a Red Sox fan, I love opening days for the O's and other places because I think it's really exciting for the fans, and it's just like, oh my God, summer is so close, we can taste it, and we're gonna be in it, and it's gonna be amazing. I love it. However, I don't believe that was an opening day game. I don't think it's an opening day game for the Padres or the Dodgers because neither one of them played at home.
But why I think it's an opening day game is, man, you got a real win or a real loss today.
Yeah.
You got a real win or a real loss.
Yeah, I get it.
So that matters.
I just feel like opening day, I think it's a game. It was a game.
So, again, why not hating on Major League Baseball?
No.
I think it's a total miss. I think it's got to be.
If you're trying to get a bigger demographic in Korea, fine. But you lost some.
Yeah.
You lost a little bit of the charm and the spark of why opening day is so cool. Is because it didn't happen in America.
Yeah, I'm all for expanding
in
the
your
game.
Stadium.
Okay, I'm all for looking for opportunities like you see the NFL does, the NBA does. That's fine. But let's not do it on the opening day.
Not the opening weekend.
Right.
NFL doesn't
NFL's
do it on
not
the
doing
off
that.
day.
NBA doesn't do it.
No. It's done on an off day, mid-season, whatever. My point is that I don't believe this is opening day for either one of those teams because it wasn't played in either one of their stadiums. And that's my role. That's because it's my
I feel
role.
like it's coming to America. His mama call him Clay. I'm going to call him Clay. Yeah. I mean, but no, so
And you're going to the real opening day, which is the 28th.
To the real opening day. Or
28th
at
Camden Yards.
Yep.
It's going to be
running it back from last year. Same crew.
Hopefully the behavior will remain in check.
My behavior was strong. Sometimes you just,
listen,
certain vices
got to
be fed, and it was an exciting moment in the game. Anxiety got to me.
Do you know what I think is really fun about this entire experience is that we're still talking about it because our friend Nathan was nervous about your behavior. It ended up being fine, but
it makes it sound like I wasn't doing anything lewd or anything.
No, of course not. Yeah. No, you were well within your rights.
I was feeding a vice.
Yep.
That is legal, but not necessarily approved for in Camden Yards.
Correct.
Right. I wasn't urinating in public.
No, you weren't doing anything indecent. How about that?
I was going to flavor country.
You were going to flavor country, and if you know what that means, you know what that means. Yeah. But it was hysterical to the point where it was just like.
He explained to me that I'm not allowed to do that there, and I said, watch me.
Well, I believe that...
Trip to Flavor Country was completed.
Yeah, and he was...
7th inning stretch. Everybody else is stretching.
I'm
going heater.
Yeah.
And I ain't talking about a fastball.
Straight to the lawn.
Yeah, exactly.
So I feel like... But it cracks me up because... But anyway, you're going to have a great time. I know this.
I'm gonna do my best to not go to Flavor Country.
But hey,
But I'm almost in the exact same seats.
Yes, I mean, history might repeat itself.
Exactly, it happens.
I still expect photos. And play-by-play.
Yeah.
You know how that goes.
We're going to go and look, I said, talking about opening day, Orioles, I said, man, I feel like Larry Bird circa 88 with the Orioles. That's how I feel about this team in the NBA three-point contest.
I feel
like the Orioles could just keep their jackets on and say, y'all losers are playing for second.
Exactly.
I'm saying we're going to go in. Wow. We might win 162 games this year. We could go 162 and
Is that your
I actually
bet?
picked us 102.
102.
I think the number's like 89 or 90. I said 102.
Okay, so you say 102. Is that your...
I think the Orioles are going to win 102 games.
Okay. I think I mean
Now,
I don't say that.
The answer was when somebody said whatever the number is, I think the number's like 89.5 or 90. I said overs club. I'm over.
Yeah,
all
I
day
think
long.
so too. Yeah, because they were over last year. They did really, really well.
Yeah, and that's right. You know, people thought they were going to regress last year. I just think they got guys getting more and more confident. I think they got guys that just got more and more experience, and talent for days.
Yeah.
I mean, just the Orioles' biggest problem, if you've watched, and again, we talked about it a week and a half ago. They have continued to just mangle people. I know it's preseason. I know it's spring training. They have just run amok through the Grapefruit League. And their biggest problem is who are they going to keep on the roster? Because they got some tough decisions with some really young talent. Jackson Holiday, Colton Cosner, Herstead, Stowers. They got some tough roster moves to make because they're just that good.
I mean, what a terrible problem to have.
First world problems.
No kidding. First world. Yeah, seriously. Well, let's keep it in with the O's. The O's will be visiting the Red Sox on April 9th at Fenway. And they're doing
Is that the Fenway home opener?
That's the Fenway home opener.
So Boston's home opener. Gotcha.
It's Boston's home opener, which I think is great. They're honoring the Wakefield family.
Yeah. It's also the
20th anniversary of them winning.
When you think of the Red Sox, those teams that made that run in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
Tim Wakefield was an integral part of it. And for him for those who don't know, Tim Wakefield passed away a couple months ago.
A few months ago. Yeah.
From, I think it was brain cancer.
He had some form of brain cancer. Also, it was released to the public when it shouldn't have been. And also disclosure of his wife's health information too. She was also battling a cancer. So Tim Wakefield was a part of the 2004 team, it's been 20 years since they won their first, which is since 1918. It was my first World Series being alive and seeing them win. So I was very excited about that.
And Wakefield pitched for the Red Sox for a long time, man.
Yeah. And so he
came up with which team? Do you remember?
No, I don't.
Buccos.
Really?
The Bucks, yeah. Tim Wakefield was an infielder.
Huh.
And, was always fooling around with the knuckleball, and that's how he became a knuckleballer.
That's interesting. Yeah. So
he pitched in the league for maybe 15 years. I mean, a long
time. Knuckleballers typically have a long career. Yeah. But number 49, and so they're doing a patch on the jerseys this year.
So, but you didn't finish the story. So not only did Tim Wakefield die.
Yes, his wife just passed away a few weeks ago.
Yeah. So
so within the last 3 months.
Yeah, both Tim Wakefield and his wife passed away in the last 3 or 4 months. Just a tragic story. I mean, young. I don't think they were 50, or if they were, they were
I think they were in their early 50s. Yeah. They leave behind some young children, not young children, in their 20s, still young. Very young. To lose both parents. And I think the Red Sox family has really stepped up and embraced the Wakefield children and family to basically just take them under their wings. And I believe that a lot of the guys that were on the 2004 team and also other players are stepping up in big ways for the family. But it's going to be it's sad, but a good tribute, I think. The Red Sox organization has been very good about when the information was released to say, yes, it was released. It wasn't meant to be released. And we're respecting their privacy. And we expect you to as well. And then, but also announcing the passing of Tim and his wife in a very, very solemn and respectful way. And I think that also helped pave the way for them to be able to honor him for opening day. So
it's
tragic. Yeah. It's tragic. It's a tragic thing, and it's something that you can't imagine happening, and it does. And so, but I feel like the Red Sox organization is handling it beautifully, and I'm glad it's the O's that are coming to play because I feel that they'll honor that. Really, I'm
not a Red Sox fan, obviously, but I've always liked the way I think was it John Henry? Is he the managing owner of the team? Since he's taken over the Red Sox have always been really classy with him. They've just done things the right way.
They have.
They've bought and paid for talent, but they've built a lot of those guys. no, it's just it's been a fun franchise. They were so, I mean, obviously, everybody gets emotional when we think about when David Ortiz, stepped up after the Boston Marathon bombing. We said it was our bleep in town. Basically to watch the Red Sox, they're so integral to New England, and they are the heart of New England. Say what you want about the Patriots or the Celtics.
Listen, the Patriots used to play at Fenway.
Yeah, it all flows from the Red Sox. It
absolutely does.
It's not about one state; it's about 6 or 7 states. These folks live and die with the Sox.
Yep.
And
I mean that is,
and the Red Sox ownership understands that sacred.
Yeah, it's an important
oath that you have to those fans.
It's important, and I think that we won 2 World Series, pretty close.
Well, 3 ultimately.
3, yeah. Well, in my lifetime,
right?
Sorry, 2 in my
life.
Well,
no, you won 3.
Did we?
Yeah, you won 3.
Sorry, excuse me.
Yeah,
3.
Tito won 2. And
that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
3,
so we won
3 in 10 years.
3 in 10 years. I'm not going to complain. Same thing about the Pats. I'm not going to complain about that at all. But after growing up with my dad saying awful things about the Red Sox because they broke his heart several times. And then also being able to, I have this good memory of it was 20 years ago, great memory of talking to my grandfather on the phone, and he was born in 1918. That's the last time they won. And he never thought he'd live to see the day that the Red Sox would win a World Series. So, it's a big deal, this 20th anniversary.
Absolutely. That team in particular.
Yeah. And I'm just really glad that they're acknowledging it. And then also with the Wakefield
it was
family.
it was like, and that team was not this bought and paid for.
No,
kind of
it was
team.
like a.
You had Euclid and Bill Miller, and you had Kevin Millar, and you had Johnny Damon, and of course,
Damon.
I mean, you had really the heart of it was Manny and Ortiz. Obviously, brought that thump to the lineup, but you had a lot of like regular blue collar, tech. You had Veritech.
Yeah, and they were all like hardworking, and again with the front of house of the Red Sox organization, they were just like, yeah, we're doing our job and we're getting it done,
right?
And like very much
kind of the anti-Yankees.
Yeah,
it was the hair and the beards.
The hair, the unkemptness. Yeah,
they were like dirtbags, and they were proud of it.
Yeah, and I think that started off like you got the Jason Worths of the Nationals and stuff like that. Like that came from. Yeah, that Sox.
Yeah, but you
team.
think about like every one of those guys looked like they needed a shave. You know what I mean? And I loved it.
And Sal Telemakia.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the whole team, every guy looks like they needed to see a barber. Now, coming to that from a guy who's got his hair pulled back and has like an unkempt beard. Yeah, but they did that, and I like that.
And it was gritty, and it was fun, and it was very much indicative of a Boston town, like
And now one of the elite managers in baseball, Dave Roberts, stole the base that led to the hit that tied that brought him back from 3. They won the game when they were down 3-0.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the epic comeback of 3-0 in the ALCS down to the Yankees. They come back and went 4 in a row. I mean, Damon hits a grand slam. I mean, it's just
you can't. It's
and then they went into St. Louis and just buzzsawed.
Oh my God,
the Cardinals.
That was it's so intense. That was such an intense series to watch. And it was late. It would go late and extra innings, like all this stuff, and you're just like, oh my God.
But I can remember that ALCS. Especially after Game 4, because a lot of people turned off Game 4. Just what I mean. But I'm saying those last 3 games, the ALCS, can they do it? Can they do it?
Yeah.
And just to come back.
And it's just sort of.
And remember, Game 7 was very anticlimactic. They jumped on the Yankees right away. I think they won 10-3, 10-4.
Yeah, but then it was always like. So you don't ever trust it, just so you know.
As a Red Sox fan.
Yeah, you just never trust it. You're like, this isn't going to work. Yeah. This is fine, but it's never. We'll figure out how to lose. Right. My dad's like, if one thing the Red Sox are good at, they always can figure out how to lose. So, you don't trust it till it's over, and it was fun. But
so, I agree with you that it shouldn't be counted as opening day, but opening day happened today
because it's on. It's they won or whatever, so it goes in the stats. Fine. But I like my rule of being like, look, opening day is the first day for you and your team. It's the first day that your team is in the stadium and that you can go to see a game. So for you, that is next week. That's a week away.
Following week, Orioles in Pittsburgh to open the Pirates. So I think I might have to. I'm not going to go to the Buccos home opener, but I think I'm going to go up that weekend.
That's not a bad idea. That's great.
I know.
Another road trip.
Yeah.
That's a benefit of living here.
2 hours from everywhere,
man. Yeah. It's good. All the best. And PNC is a great park.
Listen.
Great park.
It's very hard for me to say any ballpark is better than Camden Yards.
Yeah.
But, man, I really enjoyed PNC.
Have you ever been to Wrigley?
I have.
I have not.
Loved Wrigley. I loved Wrigley because I went on an afternoon game. It was like 85 degrees. I'm drinking sort of, pardon my language, piss warm old style.
All right.
Old styles of beer.
Mm-hmm.
And this was during the Sosa run. Sosa hits a bomb.
Whoa.
I mean, Cubs win. Sosa hits a bomb.
And you're just like,
he hits one over the batter's eye in center. Jeez. I mean, it would have been out of Yellowstone.
Whoa.
It would have been.
So you're just like,
this is
best day ever.
This is like baseball, what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah, exactly.
Day baseball, love.
Oh, God, yeah. The
At
best.
that ballpark, love. Great seats, check. Piss warm, old style, check. Sosa, bomb. Cubs win. Fly the banner, you know.
Yeah, and you're just like, perfect day.
Yeah.
That's the perfect day.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, I love a day game.
Saw him in 2000. I was in Chicago.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So been there, been to Fenway, been to old Yankee Stadium, not been to the new. Well, I've been to the. So there's
Bronx.
Yankee Stadium, then there's old Yankee Stadium, then there was the Bronx, the one that got torn down. Now there's new Yankee Stadium. So I was at the one that most of us identify as Yankee Stadium. I was at that one.
Okay.
And I have not been to the new Yankee Stadium.
I hear it's not really worth it.
No, but I mean, I thought in baseball, the three kind of chapels of baseball are Wrigley, Fenway, and that old Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
Check. I think the new temple is Camden Yards.
Well, it's the third oldest ballpark in the United States.
I know, it's crazy.
That's so silly to me. I was rambling off that stat the other day, and somebody was like, I do not believe that's true. I'm like, it is true. Look it up.
But I think Camden Yards will be...
I mean, that's what PNC was based off of.
I think 40 years from now, we could be sitting here, and the Orioles will still be playing at Oriole Park at Camden Yards.
Of course.
It's going to be what Fenway is, what Wrigley is.
Yeah.
It's just a stadium you don't move from.
I just love it.
You renovate, you update, but they're going to stay by that warehouse, by that wall.
Let me tell you something. I love the fact that both Camden, Wrigley, and Fenway are neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And you can walk to the game, not a big deal. Fenway, you can walk by Fenway on an off season, an off week. Like if it's I was in Boston this time last year. You can walk by Fenway. You're like, yeah, it's Fenway. The banners are out or whatever. Yeah. But there's nothing going on. Right. It's really mellow, and it's just in the neighborhood.
Yeah. I think you can, but PNC very walkable in that neighborhood.
Yeah, I like that too, and it's close to the Warhol Museum.
Yeah, PNC, I love though.
But it's
love
very
the open concourse.
Yeah,
that's where they got that. Camden Yards, the concessions are on the side of the ballpark, so you can't see.
Right.
At PNC,
you can see.
And the Nationals do the same thing.
Yeah.
The vendors are on the outside wall, so it's open up underneath.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
So Tim went to see the Padres in San Diego.
I've been there too.
And
awesome.
He says really great food.
Yes.
Really amazing ballpark.
Yes.
But he was like, it's very small and really lovely.
Yeah, and it's downtown.
And it's downtown. Yeah. It's in a neighborhood, highly walkable.
No, Petco might be, when it comes to the overall ambiance, the quality of food, the quality of the. Of course, you're also sitting in San Diego in June, man. So it's like 73 degrees,
it's
sunny.
Yeah,
it's like the world's
nice
best
breeze.
weather. Yeah, it's awesome. Petco is one of the great experiences of if you like the finer things of baseball.
Sure.
I mean, the ultimate experiences I just sort of described. It's Wrigley, man.
Yeah, it's all on
it's
the East
Wrigley,
Coast.
Warm beer.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what makes Wrigley.
So hopefully we get to go to Wrigley sometime this summer.
Yeah, you got to get that one.
Yeah.
Crossed off, man.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's the last one on the list.
Love it.
For sure.
Yep.
All right. Well, I mean, I think we've covered it. We've got brackets, we've got baseball.
Yeah. So next week, we'll make our baseball predictions.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll make our. We want to do brackets this week, but next week we will.
It's all baseball.
So this is episode 17. So episode 18. I call it the Roy Gilmore edition because my daughter's now 18.
Nice.
You can check me out on Twitter. I did post a picture of her many years ago at Oriole Park, and it was just it was more years ago than I care to remember. I think she's about 5 or 6. Maybe I don't know if it was her first game, maybe it was her second, but it was just it's an early, in my mind, a very iconic picture of my child at the ballpark.
And very happy.
Yes. But it's so we'll preview Major League Baseball on the Roy Gilmore edition.
Absolutely.
We have so there you go. Episode 18 in the books.
17
in the books.
18's next
18,
week.
the
Don't
Roy
get ahead
Gilmore,
of ourselves. You know, you got to don't rush it now. We're pretty much anywhere you can get your podcast.
Where else can you find us?
We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Amazon, Google Play, Spotify, Audible.
Love Audible.
iHeartRadio, Deezer, Player FM, and Samsung.
So for the record, this is episode 17, season 4. It begs the obvious answer to a question you might have. Yeah. There are 3 previous seasons. There's 16 previous episodes.
Spectacular.
All those places Lydia just told you, that's where you can find us. Lydia, you can also find us on Twitter and X, which is at RTL Pod. You can find us on Insta, because if it ain't on Insta, it didn't happen.
It's Jack YDK Pod.
You can find us on Facebook.
Facebook at You Don't Know Jack Podcast.
Right. You can also, as I just said, there's a picture I shared with my daughter as I was getting ready for opening day. Made me think of it. You can find me at JMGGMPG. I got it out.
I knew it.
There's a lot of letters. I'm doing it out of order because normally I do yours first.
Yeah, that's true.
But so I'll try that again. You could do mine at JMGGMPG.
Perfect.
You can find Lydia on X, Twitter, whatever the hell you want to call it.
At RTL Pod.
Yeah.
And we're at Jack YDK on Twitter too, so you can check us out there. Yeah, it's fine. It's no problem.
I'm struggling.
It's okay.
Well, so listen. I've gotten used to doing this on the weekend.
I know.
Okay, this ain't the weekend.
It's not. We're not in sweatpants.
Man, you got me like midweek grind piece.
I know.
You know,
and you did so well.
I know. I really have been strong, given the fact that I'm mentally beat down. I've been through three days of the grind.
Yeah, but we talked about brackets. So listen, we'll get back on our weekend beat, and then that way.
I think next weekend. Maybe we'll do it next Saturday, the Easter Passover edition.
Well, no, Passover is later in the year.
Oh, I like it when they're both at the same time, but whatever.
Would be nice.
The spring break Easter edition, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Yeah, we'll call it the spring fling.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
All right.